Hey everybody, welcome. It's Corey with Blue Falcon Board Gaming. If you're new to the channel, I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran that started the Blue Falcon Board Gaming Group in the Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia tri-state area with the hopes of promoting positive mental health through board gaming, as well as to make board games more accessible to the community by hosting, co-hosting, and doing giveaways. Today, I've got Josh Gilbertson with me from MeepleHouse Games. Josh, welcome, bud.
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
It's going, man. I am so excited for this one because you are one of my favorite people.
Oh, thanks.
So me and Josh, we met back in Geekway of 22, right? 2022.
Yep, 2022.
Yep. So we did some volunteer shifts together, and then basically played games all weekend. And since then, Josh has flown out here from Colorado to Ohio. Went to a castle together. There's well, not together. We were there together, but it wasn't just us. We had like a group of 10, 12 people with us and everything. We just did a board game weekend up at Ravenwood Castle. So that was fun. But Josh, you want to introduce yourself to people that don't know you, a little bit about yourself outside of the board game world first?
Yeah, so as you know, my name is Josh. So I go by MeepleHouse Games. I actually started MeepleHouse Games back in 2022 after going to Geekway, talking to Corey for a while, seeing what his kind of passion was with Blue Falcon board gaming. In addition to talking to Jamie and seeing the positive changes that they were making inside the board gaming community, I went to school for social media management, some digital creation, mass communication with a focus on film. So I really wanted to get into the social media market. Not necessarily, to overstep any boundaries with anybody, trying to step on people's toes, but more so to express my love of board gaming, and just kind of sharing that out with people, across the web. So that's kind of how Meeple House Games started. Um, my motto for that is just coming to the table together, no matter who you are, and using games as a way of escaping reality for just a short period of time, whether that be 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, unless you're playing Twilight Imperium, and then it's 12 hours. But other than that, that's kind of how what my motto was for Meeple House Games. Outside of that, I used to work in IT. I just recently exited that market in the meantime. And I now work for What's Games Manufacturing, one of the largest board gaming manufacturers in the industry. We've done multiple games from Clank to Ark Nova, Seven Wonders, Isle of Cats, all those fun games. So, been working with them. It's been a great time. I get to go to these conventions, meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, talk to a lot of publishers, meet first-time designers. Working with Corey and his new game that he's wanting to bring out. It's been a real pleasure. Um, and then I also just picked up a job at the local board gaming cafe at Do Gooder's Game Cafe. And that has been super fun. Seeing people come together as a community, just welcoming, uh, opening up tables, and if there's an open spot, you're more than welcome to join any game. And that's what I really liked about the place. So I'm really grateful for all that.
Yeah, there was a really good quote, and I'm trying to find where I saw it at. For some reason, I want to say it was Tabletop Gamers. It was the LGBT nonprofit. I want to say it was them, but it was basically a game for every table, a seat for everyone at the table.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
and that's
I
and
really liked that quote.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter who you are at the table. What really matters is coming together as a community, as friends, and doing something that you enjoy doing and doing something that, you know, takes your mind off of things. We all have things going on in the world, stuff in our personal lives that we just don't want to think about in the meantime. So it's always good to take a board game and, uh, you know, let yourself escape and let yourself be happy and let yourself enjoy what you're doing, even for whatever playtime that game is.
So how did you get into board games originally? Like modern board games. I think everybody kind of grew up with Monopoly, Risk, Clue, stuff like that. But what was the transition for you to the modern board game hobby?
Yeah, so I mean, we all have that, like you said, board games growing up, that Monopoly. Mine was Disney Monopoly by Parker Brothers back in the late 90s. But for modern board gaming, it really stemmed from college. Went over to a friend's place. He was like, "Hey, got some board games if you want to come over and play instead of study." I was like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and do that." And so we went over and ended up playing Betrayal at the House on the Hill, the second edition, more particularly. Fell in love with that game, and then we kind of expanded upon that. I mean, Risk was always a go-to. We played Risk Legacy more specifically, so that was a really fun game to go into. Um, and those were really the games that we kind of stuck with until after college. After college, it wasn't really until 2020 when the pandemic hit that I really dove head over heels for board gaming. Um, because I did purchase, Betrayal at the House on the Hill. I purchased Scythe from Stonemaier Games. I actually didn't play it for a long time because I was like, solo mode, this game looks kind of intimidating for a solo play. So I was waiting for the right group to play with. But then, like I said, in 2020, got into Wingspan with Stonemaier Games. And then from there, just kind of started going out from there. I One of my favorite gaming games at the time was Noctiluca by Z-Man Games.
Scythe was one of the big ones that got me into it. I'm sure you know, and I'm sure people that have watched other interviews are probably tired of me talking about Scythe, but it's a great game. It's fantastic. Go play it. It looks intimidating. It's not that bad, I promise. So with the channel, so the whole reason we're doing the interview is because you've been one of the content creators selected by Jamie at Stonemaier Games for the upcoming charity auction, and he selected MeepleHouse Games. So what's your goal with MeepleHouse Games? What's kind of your vision? I know you recently started it. What do you hope that it grows to or becomes?
You know, I just I I just love the community creation that I've kind of developed with it. With through Meeple House Games, I've met a variety of other content creators. So Drew with Welcome to Boredom, Heather with Board Gaming Mama. I've met fantastic people in the community. Um, like I said, with even designers and publishers, like it's fantastic to get to know people. And my goal with Meeple House Games has always been, hey, I know who you are. You kind of know who I am. We've met, we've talked online, but now we're here in person. Let's go ahead and get a game to the table. And then when we sit down at the table, it's having that communication. Because it's not like we just talk about the game. We actually, get to know each other. We actually sit down and we're like, hey, what's the family like? Uh, and we could just kind of share these stories of our lives together and creating that community to where like I don't want to be, hey, you're so popular, I'm never going to talk to you. It's like, hey, I think you're doing something really great for this community. I think that um, you know that you're creating something fun that multiple people are going to enjoy. So let's spend this time that we have together um, and create lasting memories.
Yeah, whenever I started doing interviews, I was super hesitant about reaching out to anybody. And it was Sean Fletcher who did Disney Sorcerer Arena. Fletch was the first one that I had interviewed. And after the interview, we were talking, and I was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You're the first one that I've done the interview with. I didn't even know if you would respond." And he was like, "Dude, designers and publishers are just like every other person." He was like, "You want to talk about their baby? They're going to talk about their baby with you." So everyone that I've reached out to, except for like two people, have got back with me and were like, "Hey, yeah, we'll do an interview." So it's I like that, having that mindset of, hey, nobody's too big to approach or anything in the board game community because everybody just wants to play games. Everybody wants to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I think some of the people that some of the bigger names that, I've talked to have been, folks from the Dice Tower. I met their crew when I went to Dice Tower West. Thinker Themer, met those folks, and Paula Deming. Uh, I think, and just kind of saying, hey, I see your content, and that's how I approached it. I went up to them, I'm like, hey, I've seen your content. I like your content. Keep up the good work. Um, and it's nice to meet you. And, shook hands, took a couple pictures, like, a natural tourist, going to see, the Grand Canyon or something. But it's, yeah, it's just that community aspect of everything where everybody's approachable. You don't have to worry about anything, um, and just be yourself.
so how do you think that you got on Jamie's radar to be one of the content creators that he selected? Because he usually, for people that don't know, he'll pick 10 content creators a year, typically smaller content creators that he wants more people to know about. So how do you think that you popped up on his radar?
Yeah, so I met Jamie back in 2022 in person, when we went to Geekway to the West. Got to play a few games with him. Um, and yeah, so ever since I played a few games with him, I think it's kind of like that interaction where you create these memories with people, and they make an impression. Puts out by being like, for me, I'm a Stonemaier ambassador. So it's just following along with those core values and following along with what Stonemaier wants to uh, show to the world, as a company, what they want for the board gaming industry. So between that, definitely community engagement. When I started MeepleHouse Games, he was kind enough to be one of the first followers for MeepleHouse Games, um, and so I was thankful for that. But it's just that constant engagement, because he does a lot of live content. He does a lot of YouTube content, pre-recorded stuff, and I think it's just the engagement between that back and forth where you create that conversation. Um, and so just keeping up with that, and then back in this year with Geekway, you and I got to play disc golf with Jamie, um, and once again, it's just that be engaged. I don't think, if you're not engaged with the content that you are consuming, I don't think you're actually getting everything that you're putting into it. Um, so it's just that constant engagement together, that togetherness, that I keep preaching about. But yeah, I think between that, is what really kind of put me on the radar, and uh, having my values as MeepleHouse Games kind of coincide with the values of Stonemaier.
Yep. So we're talking about the charity auction here for Stonemaier Games, and it's coming up in November. And each year, Jamie picks 10 small content creators. Those content creators, they'll select a charity. They put up basically a package of different games. It's usually whatever their new game is that year, some new accessories, stuff like that. And then you just comment on it to place your bid, and then whatever the winning bid is, Stonemaier Games will match that up to I think $1,000 typically, but they'll match that, and then that will go to that charity. So they've been doing this since 2013, and as of now, or as of last year, they've donated $121,670 to 95 different charities. So both of us were lucky enough to be in it this year. And you had selected the Wild Animal Sanctuary. Do you want to talk about why you selected that organization and what they do?
Yeah, so when I was trying to go back and forth with selecting a charity, I went back and forth with a few different charities. Um, but what really I wanted to do was, I wanted to do something that inspired me growing up. and everything. So I chose the Wild Animal Sanctuary. They're located here in Colorado. Actually, they have four different facilities, three of them in Colorado here, and they're getting ready to, or they already have. I don't know quite yet from the last time I looked, but they have one in Texas. So they have the sanctuary and a refuge, and then they have a horse refuge. Between the four different locations, they have over 33,000 square acres, uh, which is phenomenal. And they care for over 750 lions, tigers, bears, wolves, jaguars, cheetahs, leopards, mountain lions, camels, and a whole bunch of different, animal species. And I like what they have a 1.5 mile walk that you can go through the different habitats and see like above, um, so that you can kind of see how they live in these sanctuaries. Because it's not like a zoo where they have these different enclosures. Yes, they have enclosures, but they're so much bigger than just a zoo, to let them live naturally in their habitats, which I really like. My favorite definitely all their wolves. I've been a big fan of wolves ever since I was a kid, and so just kind of like seeing these animals live, um, and being cared for, uh, has really inspired me to choose this.
Awesome, yeah. So speaking of wolves, did you back that Kickstarter?
At the time, I did not because I did not have the funds to back that Kickstarter. Um, but yeah, now that I currently work for a board game shop, hopefully stock will be easy to come by.
Get that employee discount, baby. So what's some recent games that you've been able to play at the shop that either you've
Um,
wanted to play for a while and just didn't have access to it, or you weren't even aware of it and it's just popped up in your peripherals?
yeah, so one of the most popular games that have been coming to the table recently has been Sea Salt and Paper from Pandasaurus Games. It's a little card drafting set collection game. I have really enjoyed that one. It's super quick, super easy. That one has come to my table about 11 times in the past 3 weeks, um, multiple times throughout the day. So that one has been really good. Life of the Amazonia. Um, has been really good, and I think that's Bad Comet, um, who did Wild Serengeti as well. Trying to think. I played Lost Rooms of Arnak, just the base game, for the first time. I was a little hesitant because I heard how meaty it can get. It's on the higher weight scale, um, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm super excited to be getting that one to the table a little bit more. Um, and Pokemon. Pokemon has come out to the table, the trading card game. Um, we actually just opened up about 32 booster packs yesterday of Pokemon cards. So it's just kind of building out the decks, building out what we want to see, and then just trying to collect, not really playing, but collecting Lorcana. Um, the Disney Lorcana game, I'm about 8 cards shy of having a complete set of the first chapter. So I'm really excited for the second set to come out and the reprint in hopes that I can get the rest of those cards.
Yeah, I've jumped on the Pokemon train as well. I was doing an event at Gallagher Library, and one of the it's like Friends of the Library, community people, whatever. It's the community organization for the library. They had pushed out that we're doing a board game night and there was going to be games and all of this, but they included Pokemon in that, and I had nothing with Pokemon at the time. And man, this little kid showed up like one deck ready to go, and nobody else had a deck. Nobody else knew how to play, and like the kid was just like, "All right, then I guess I'm leaving." And I was like, "No, little dude." So I'm up to like 19 decks now, and I've been playing a ton on Pokemon Live on the app, and I'm liking
Mhm.
it, man. I like it a lot. Yeah. I'm old enough to where I remember collecting them in middle school whenever they first came out, and never knowing how to play, just collecting the cards. So
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it though. So hopefully next time we do something at Gallagher, that little dude shows up, and I can try not to get spanked by like an 8-year-old at Pokemon.
Yeah, no, actually, it was really funny when we were pulling card. Well, when we were crafting our decks today, um, this little kid came in with his Pokemon cards, and he was a collector. He's not interested in playing the game at all. He turned in a whole box of just for donation to the store. He's like, here, I know you guys are trying to build out a Pokemon, thing. So I'm just donating these cards to the store, and there was like three Mewtwo's in it. There was like all these like legendary Pokemon in it, and I'm just like, kid, you know what you got here, right? But he's like, no, I'm just collecting. He's like, I already got them. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Thanks. So it's kind of interesting to see, the different levels, if they're a collector, what they're wanting and what somebody who wants to play is. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I got to keep with the mindset though of like I'm only getting the starter decks because I got way too big into Magic. I dropped way too much money on Magic, and trying to stay competitive with it and everything is just way too much. There's a new set every 3 months or whatever, so trying to keep up with whatever the current format is, it can just get really expensive. So I'm like, I'm going to get the starter decks, and that's it. So I've got they've got different play levels. They've got like level 1, level 2, level 3, or whatever. So I've got a variety of each deck and stuff, and I've been working on sleeving them all and putting them in my deck boxes and stuff, and then I'm going to print off labels for the side of the deck boxes. That way people know, hey, if you guys are going to play together, grab the same level or whatever. Because if you play a level 1 deck versus a level 3 deck, even with the precons, the level 3 is going to crush it.
But yeah, I think some other games that I got to be careful with. I just played BattleTech for the first time today, and I'm not a huge miniatures guy, but let me tell you, it was pretty fun. And I have three people that are like, "All right, so what's your new star?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." uh, but yeah, so BattleTech has hit my radar today, and I don't know how bad it's going to be for.
I got to stay away from miniature games too. That's another one. I'm like, with my ADHD, I will go down that rabbit hole, and I'll just have, 2 rooms full of miniatures on bookshelves and a painting area and everything. I'll get way too deep into it. So I got to stay away from it. I've got some miniature games, but not anything crazy, nothing painted. Well, I say nothing crazy, but I've got $300 worth of Zombicide sitting in a box I haven't even opened yet.
Yeah, did you back the Final Girl season three then with all
No, I've
Final
got
Girl?
season one though. I've got season one. Whenever they did the season two Kickstarter, I did the late pledge or whatever for season one. I'm like, all right, I haven't even got to the table yet, man. I've just
Yeah,
had so
I
much
mean,
stuff
there's
going
just
on. So
too many games, and what I actually really like about the board game shop is they have like a little consignment area, so people can bring in any games that they're not getting played, anything that they just don't want in their collection anymore, and pretty much sell them here at the shop. You have to fill out a form making sure that all the pieces are there and stuff like that, but it not only alleviates uh you know for me, I mean, I threw some stuff on the shelf just because I'm not getting it to the table or I just have no interest in playing them. So one, it helps me, go through my collection and actually um, build out my collection the way that I want it to be. But it also helps, drive community because it's like here's a slightly cheaper board game than if you were to go get it at retail. Um, And so that's what I kind of like about that whole consignment area.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I don't think any of the shops around here do that. I know Randy, he does a lot of stuff in the community here, and he'll show up to a lot of my events and all of that. Man, he's donated so much to the Cabell County Library and the Gallagher Library. Like, it was a full set of like the original Battlestar Galactica. I mean, I'm like, dude, you've got like $600 of games here with the base set and the expansions and everything. He's like, yeah, I know. I just never get them to the table. He's like, I'm just going to donate them to the library. I was like, all right, man. And I mean, he's brought me trash bags full of games to take over to Gallagher. And I mean, it was like new stuff too. It was the Star Wars deck builder that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of the Dice Throne season one re-rolls. There was like 4 or 5 of those boxes. I mean, there was a ton of good stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm good. I'll just donate them.
I think that's a good thing too, especially giving games to libraries because it does help build, that community engagement, and especially with people who can't necessarily afford to purchase anything. It gives people the opportunity to, um, you know, enjoy something fun for a while for free, as long as you go to the library. Of course, I know none of the libraries that I know of around here have a board game section. Um, the couple libraries I don't in my town aren't actually run by the city. They're privately owned libraries, which is not profit. But still, so it's kind of harder to kind of ask them to open up a board gaming section. But I'm always happy to donate games. I've donated a few games to the store that I'm just like, no, don't even try to sell this. Just put it on the shelf. Because it's going to be fun for people to, it's going to bring people in to play. So just, between donating and just trying to, um, spread joy around.
Yep. So speaking of games, we can't be talking about games without playing a game. So Josh, Family
Oh,
Feud, my
Family
man.
Feud.
Family Feud. You're gonna be the first one here. All right. You ready?
All
All
right.
right. So name something that you only have one set of.
One setup. Um,
This is fast money, baby. You're on a timer.
oh, shoot. Okay. I have one set, almost complete set of Lorcana cards.
Tell me an animal that probably snores when it sleeps.
Bears.
Okay. Name a word that rhymes with moose.
Goose.
Okay. Name a place where you will hear a bell ring.
A church.
Okay. And name a piece of sport equipment that's made of leather.
Uh, pads. Like
All
the
right.
shin pads, knee pads.
All right. So let's see what we got here. So name something that you
Right.
only have a set of. Lorcana's not on there, my man. Eyeballs was number one. An animal that probably snores when it sleeps. You said bear, so that's 9 points. A word that rhymes with moose. You said goose. That's 60 points. So you've got 69. Name a place where you hear a bell ring. You said church. That's 75. So whatever my math is here. Come on, calculator. Hurry up. So we're at 69 plus 75. It's 144. And then a piece of sports equipment made of leather. You said shin pads or some sort of pads. It's not on there. So you got 144. So right now, you are the Blue Falcon Board Gaming Family Feud champion. But you're also the only one that's played so far.
Got it, man.
So where can people find you, man? If they wanna look you up, what's your main social medias, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so if you're looking for video content, it's going to be mostly with TikTok. So, just search up at MeepleHouse Games on TikTok. I haven't posted there in a couple weeks just because I've been pretty busy with leaving the old job, picking up the board gaming job. but I should be getting back into it. And then when I actually do post my next video, it will be a giveaway. So if people want to go and follow, I'll be doing a giveaway on my channel here in the next week or two. When I actually fully come back to TikTok. But otherwise, in the meantime, I've been posting a lot of Instagram and Facebook. So just look up MeepleHouse Games on Facebook, MeepleHouse Games on Instagram, and that's where you're gonna go ahead and find me. And I post a little bit more there because it's easier to take a snapshot of a picture of a game that I'm playing and posting it on there than it is to film and edit a video for TikTok. But yeah, other than that, that's where you can find me.
Cool deal. Yeah, speaking of giveaways too, I know this video is going to come out before then, so uh, I'm doing a giveaway for Honey Buzz, which we got to play with Paul, the designer at Geekway.
Yes, we
I've
did.
got a sealed copy of Honey Buzz that I'm giving away. If you go to my link tree or to the Facebook page, Blue Falcon Board Gaming, there's a post there. Click on the Google Doc form, fill it out, and you're entered. I'm doing the live drawing Tuesday, October 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be on Facebook Live. As long as you're in the lower 48 of the U.S., I'll pay for the shipping. If you're outside of that, as long as you cover shipping, we're all good. So,
And I do suggest picking up Honey Buzz now. So if go ahead and join his giveaway because the Fall Flavors expansion is coming out here soon. So now's the chance to get into it before the new expansion.
yeah, I'm still waiting on my Kickstarter. I saw somebody had posted something about Elf Creek Games and stuff in Board Game Geek or whatever, and Paul had responded back that they're in the process right now of getting everything wrapped up with the Fall Flavors expansion and getting that out the door. So I'm hoping it's soon.
Yeah,
I know
it's a pretty
Dice
good game.
Tower, yeah, the Dice Tower, they just wrapped up their Kickstarter and stuff. They're sending out address requests and all of that now before they, start shipping and all of that, which I think the last 3 years I've backed the Dice Tower Kickstarter just for the playmat, the extra large playmat. It's just, they look really cool. It's nice to have, makes cards easier to pick up, all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. And where can people find more about Blue Falcon other than Facebook?
So TikTok, it's Blue Falcon Board Gaming. Facebook is the main one, and it's Blue Falcon Board Gaming LLC. Blue Falcon's on or Facebook is the main one for me just because of the events function. I do a lot of community events and stuff, so I'll be doing game demos and all of that kind of stuff. And then I also try to collect all of the local events in the area that I'm aware of that different places do. So Cicada Books and Coffee, rocking the T-shirt, love them. They do stuff every Friday night. The Gallagher Library, HerdCon over at Marshall, the Cabell County Library, Lincoln County High School, the Boardroom in Hurricane in South Charleston. So if there's board game events going on, even that I'm not a part of, I try to, beginning of each month, I just have a pinned post of, hey, here's the dates, here's the times, tag the pages, tag the events, all of that stuff. That way it's easy for people to find. Because, like you were saying, man, like earlier with libraries and everything else, it's an expensive hobby at times. Depending on what your flavor of game is and how cult of the new you want to be, it can get expensive quick. So I always like
Yep.
pushing out the free events for people and letting people be able to play games that they may not otherwise have access to.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody's also like to go along with those free events, if anybody's in the Colorado area, northern Denver, at the Do-Gooder Games Cafe in Thornton, Colorado, they do events Tuesday through Sunday. They're closed on Mondays, but Tuesday through Sunday, there's always something going on, especially family board gaming night, with a focus on the family theme. On Tuesdays, open board gaming. On Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays is pretty much open to everything. X-Wing, Star Wars Legion, BattleTech, everything goes on the weekends. And all you do is just come. They have a game library to just pull a game off the shelf and play it. There's nothing you need to do. Just show up, play a game, sit down. There's local coffee. in snacks. But yeah, just swing by and check them out. And yeah,
Sounds great, man. Josh, I appreciate you as always. Always a pleasure, man.
always a pleasure, man. You take care now, and let's get on some BGA soon.
Yeah, BGA and Pokemon Live now.
Yeah, there we go.